Racing in the Northeast is nothing new. New Hampshire Motor Speedway, nothing new to the NASCAR schedule, although when you compare it to tracks like Thompson Motor Speedway, when you compare it to tracks like Beech Ridge, Oxford, and others, it is relatively new to the scene, and it is definitely an odd NASCAR track at this point, holding kind of a controversial stance in the NASCAR schedule. Some fans like it, some fans not so much. It's a classic NASCAR track, though. If you go back to like the 2000s at this point, it feels classic, which is weird to say, but we are here for round 8 at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Thanks for joining us at Pit Stop TV. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. We'll have Zach Murtis alongside in just a moment as qualifying kicks off here for round number 8. I say kicks off, it's actually wrapping up for round number 8. The Toxic Media Solutions 75. A big shout out to them, and of course to Pierce Fleet Service. Round 8, Zach, we're quite a ways into the season. There's been a lot going on. Every week, every single week, this series just gets more and more interesting, and with a week off, we've had a little bit of extra time to kind of let Las Vegas be and get ready now for New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a very odd racetrack to take super late models to. It's not unheard of for short track cars to go to a place like this. Of course, modifieds do it, but for super late models, it's a little bit more different.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a super speedway, really, when they come here. It's always interesting to see how they, have the dynamic of racing, because you can run on the outside and you can be fast. You can run on the bottom and you can be fast. But the points battle definitely has shaken up quite a bit. It seems like Alex McCullum has full well run away with it at the moment, with only what is going to be now 3 races left after this tonight. And I don't want to say it's impossible, but I feel like it would take some sort of miracle for Ryan Kuhn, Cole Cabry, or even Jacob Harberts to have a way to close in and take that away from McCullum.
And this is now figuring in those drop weeks, which is why this feels like such a dystopian future for Ryan Kuhn, Cole Cabry, and others that are this far back at this point in the season. When you only have 4 races left and you've got to make up about 4 races of points, and you're trying to beat the only guy with multiple wins in the series, one of the best in short track racing on iRacing, that's a very tall task. I would absolutely not want to be in their position. I'm glad it's them, not me in this case, because that would be stressful. And yeah, I don't even know what else to say there, but Ryan Kuhn, Cole Cabry, you see their distances up ahead to Alex McCullum. Ryan Kuhn has kind of separated himself from Cabry, Harberts, and Cottle. Ryan Harberts not at Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, so he fell down the order a little bit. As I look across the field, he is here this evening. Ryan Kuhn is here. I see Alex McCullum in the session. So our heavy hitters are here. Even Cole Cabry's here this evening. Our most important drivers, I suppose, to the championship fight are at least here, which is good, and I think helps solidify everything for this championship picture. Let's take a look at the schedule, though, as we get ready to go trackside and take a look at some paint schemes on track. Kern County, way back in January, the one broadcast that we were not here for because we were finishing up previous obligations. We joined this series at Irwindale on February 1st, and since then, this has been my favorite racing, I feel like, week in, week out. I love everything we've got with the Icon Cup Series currently, the North American Racing League with their GC3 cars, but something about these super late models, it's my thing. I don't know. I really have enjoyed this series. You do see Mystery Night, by the way, back on March 28th, still left as Mystery Night blank. I mean, it's still... If you missed it, it was Las Vegas. You should go back and watch it. But Zach, 75 laps here, the shortest race by a lap count, but certainly 75 miles, one of the longer ones, if not the longest.
Absolutely. And like I said, New Hampshire, really great track. Really great way to really try to be able to run it. And then we've got Slinger, Oxford, Plains, and Lanier coming up. 3 very super late model style tracks. Obviously, you have super late model series that take place with racing here. It's I actually don't even remember what the name of it was that they do here, and we've had quite a few I want to say heavy hitters in these races before, and now I think it's going to be down to just being able to hold on to these tires, really, as we've said before, no tire changes whatsoever in this series, and yeah, just got to be able to roll with the punches as the race goes on.
On trackside, taking a look at some paint schemes, here is Alex McCullum and his number 1 points leader, but not fastest in this warm-up session. Now, this is just a warm-up session. We still have Well, qualifying's already happened, practice already happened. This doesn't really hold much bearing on the race this evening, but another chance for these guys to shake their cars down. Here's Kyle Meyer, third in this session so far. Justin Laxton in the 53, currently fourth in this session. Spencer Dickinson, not too bad, sixth place. Kyle Eli in fifth. If we take a look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details, actually, first what we'll do is we'll take a look at the weather conditions, because this will kind of play into it. You mentioned no tire changes. Well, we're sitting at 70.3 degrees in the air and 98 on track. Something about this racetrack, Zach, it takes heat. It gets super hot, it feels like, and it's super, super difficult to hang on to the car on corner exit no matter what you bring here. Even modifieds, they tend to get a little bit free on corner exit here. The lack of banking, maybe the change in asphalt, I don't know, because you do go from newer pavement to older pavement down the straightaways after, the corners were somewhat reprofiled in the earlier 2000s, I believe. You can see that transition on the racetrack, and it definitely makes things interesting, and it's difficult to hang on to the race car, ultimately. We can take a look, though, at Whiplash SimCam's race details. 75-lap race this evening, open setups, no change tires. The top 8 points, top 8 qualifying positions will be changed around by the points metric, and, of course, caution laps do count. And there's been a change, actually, to the way the session is set up. You'll notice, Zach, as you joined in, we're not hopping between sessions. We are just in one session now that will be continuous from practice on through qualifying, warm-up, and the race. And that has changed things a little bit. I think the coolest part of that for us is we'll be able to see the points metric take effect. We'll be able to see these guys get moved around as they sit on the grid. And I think that's a really cool difference. In the past, we wouldn't get to see that process. We just kind of, if we caught qualifying, we caught it. If not, we would see kind of where guys lined up. We didn't exactly know who qualified fastest at that point. Now, we'll see the lineup as they qualified, then we'll watch the drivers take their positions by that metric reorder, and I think that's a really cool change that we're going to have. It happened, technically, it started at Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago with Mystery Night because of the way the session had to be set up, but it has kind of taken foothold for the rest of the season, it sounds like. Zach, with a lot of these paint schemes on track, well, Grant Brown always has some good ones. Here's, another fantastic one. What's your favorite so far? And you can't pick the 14 car.
Aw, man. Why not, man? Aw. I will say, Alex McCullum's paint scheme has always really stood out to me. It's always been a really nice paint scheme to take a look at. I mean, just kind of look at it. It flows so well. And I'm sorry, but I've always been a fan of linear style paint schemes. I mean, DuPont Flames. Everybody remembers the DuPont Flames from Jeff Gordon. Everybody remembers Jimmy Johnson's paint schemes from when he was still running with Lowe's from 2005 all the way to, 2019? I mean, there's such great iconic paint schemes, but the linear designs, they always just seem like they can flow in such a way that it really makes the car look like it's going faster.
Can't disagree. Here's a look at Justin Laxton on his 53 car. We saw him a little bit ago. I like that kind of ghost design there on the side. Trevor Edwards has had some pretty cool paint schemes this evening, though. All white with Shop Talk. I said Talk. Shop Talk. There we go, on the side of that machine. Cole Cabry has had some pretty nice cars, although very simple this season. I like that red addition to the 54 car. How about Josh Cottle? A bit of a different paint scheme than we've seen so far this season. Kyle Souza, same 7 car we've seen so far. Keith Jeffrey, not much of a change there, just a new sponsor, Shop Talk, on the hood and side of that car. So some small changes throughout the course of the field. Should be fun to see these guys go at it this evening. And this driver, I was so surprised he missed Las Vegas and the mystery round. It completely took him out of the second place in the standings, and it's going to make it a whole lot more difficult, Zach, as we go through this season now for him to try and fight into a championship position. He's now 5th entering this race. That's a difficult spot to be in.
I think if you're below 2nd, even if you're not 1st, you still have a struggle, regardless of where you are at on track, whatever's going on. If you're below Alex McCullum, you are definitely digging yourself out of a hole while the hole gets deeper. And you have got to find a way to stop Alex from winning so that you can find a way to put yourself in the position to win this championship.
Couple of other drivers that have made some noise recently. Here's Dustin Momberquette in the 16 car. He won not so long ago. Oh, what track was that? Yeah, there you go. Five Flag Speedway. Really fun race. Really did enjoy that one. 16 car finally going to victory lane for the first time this season. Anybody else tickling your fancy?
Well, Kyle Meyer, he's up there in the third place position. Honestly, that's pretty good for him because he hasn't exactly been up there running with them most of the time. And to see him fast in the warm-up right now and considerably a little bit less than a tenth of a second as Matt Rolfe, actually, that was, tags the wall there in the warm-up. And Matt Rolfe, you know, you bring up Five Flags. He had one heck of an up-and-down night at Five Flags. Was all the way in the back, came to the front, went to the back again, avoided a 28-car pileup. Was it 28 out of the 30 cars were involved in that wreck, and still managed to get a top 10 out of it. I mean, kudos to him. And he's been struggling a little bit on the pace right now, but I mean, hey, what's to say he can't have another solid run?
17th so far in warm-up. Do want to take a moment here at the back end of this session to just kind of talk about what we have upcoming at Pit Stop TV. There's a lot going on, Zach, week in, week out. I can say that we do have a series coming back that we haven't had in a while. In fact, since round one of this season for the North American Racing League, oddly enough, that was the last time we had them on track. In fact, here we can kind of clear that. It's not even on that screen anyway. The North American Racing League is restarting later this year, and they will be headed out to Spa to begin their season gotta think about this, in June now. So they'll get things going again with those GT3 cars later this year. They're going to take some Thursdays throughout the course of the summer, but more, I guess, not recently, but more forefront in our minds as far as what's upcoming. This graphic here shows us we're going to Texas Motor Speedway on Sunday evening with the Icon Cup Series. We're out at Slinger next week with this SARA Pierce Fleet Service Super Series and their super late models, and out to Talladega in a couple of Sundays for the Icon Cup Series following that NASCAR-style schedule. Also, as we get ready to go racing this evening, a big thank you to our partners with the SARA Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. There we go. 1-8 Coffee Company, Pedley's Garage Incorporated, Pierce Fleet Service, Race1Wraps.com, RS Center Trucking, SARA Next Gen Templates, SimWrapMarket.com, Sousa Media, Studio 10 Wraps, Toxic Media Solutions, the presenting partner of this evening's race. Also want to give a big shout out to Boyd's Automotive, Crow Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, DriverTees.com, Fast AF Designs, Hides Pride, Leather and Sheepskin, International Short Track Association, Jeff By Jr. Art, Justin Brooks Designs, and Matthews Designs. Briefly, a big nod to our partners as well, Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, and CC's Beast. And Zach, we have cars headed to the grid. In fact, most of them should be on the grid, if not already there, and we are ready to go racing this evening. A grid 25 cars strong, which is a slight detour from the 30 or so that we've had all season long. That's okay. This is a big racetrack, big speeds. 25 cars will be plenty for us. You see the pace car rolling off. Let's take a look through the starting grid. Now, by qualifying speed, Josh Cottle actually took pole. Things will change a little bit, but Alex McCullum was second quick in qualifying, third quick, Aaron Johnson, then Ryan Kuhn. Finally, you find Cole Cabry, Daniel Folds, and even Parker Traves and Jacob Harberts completing the top 8. That'll get reshuffled by points. To complete your top 10, though, it's Kyle Eli and Matt Rolfe.
And moving on down the running order, Blake Thronberg and Grant Brown, your 11th and 12th starting spot, just outside the top 10. And moving further down the line, Dustin Momberquette, one of your most recent winners back there at Five Flags we were talking about earlier, still rolling off 13th tonight. Trevor Edwards starting right next to him. Kyle Meyer, who was up there in third during the warm-up, definitely has some good pace tonight, rolling off 15th with Jeremy Ashby right next to him. Rocky Boyd in the 17th position, and John Owlett in the 18th position tonight. And then to complete your top 20, Kyle Souza and Justin Laxton, as we saw one car just go through the road course section right there.
21st, Keith Jeffrey. 22nd, Eric Tracy. Further back, you'll find car number 6 in position 23 is Spencer Dickinson alongside Aaron Abendroth. These guys have got some work to do, as well as Dylan Bates, who is starting shotgun on the field, which is interesting to me because he's been in the top 10 in points most of this season, only recently dropping out of that top 10. So clearly the 91 car has got a little bit to work on this evening as the field works down the backstretch. We should be green, if not this time, the next time. The top 8 have reshuffled. Daniel Folds now will lead us to the green. Second place looks to be... Oh, who is that actually on the front row? That's Aaron Johnson of the 78 car. Starting third is Parker Traves. Fourth, Ryan Kuhn. Fifth, Josh Cottle. Sixth, Cole Cabry. Seventh, Jacob Harberts. And eighth, Alex McCullum. We'll see if we will take the green this time by into the Geico restart zone and to the flag. We are green in the Toxic Media Solutions 75. Three wide out of turn 2 already. Everybody jockeying for position, and down into turn 3, they just settle things out. Alex McCullum giving up some spots. Ryan Kuhn stuck on the outside of the racetrack. He'll put it 3 wide again. Aaron Johnson in the middle. This might be a crash. They just hang on.
Looks like Ryan Kuhn really benefited from being out there, as there was almost a wreck right there. Alex McCullum picks up 2 spots right there with his championship rival. They are 3, almost 4 wide, going through 1 and 2. See, Marquette was almost in the middle, and they're still moving around, Andrew.
Kyle Eli looked to the inside of Grant Brown, who's now 8th, to the inside of turn 3. This is only lap number 2 we're seeing all of this. Daniel Folds pulling away with the race lead as we speak. Side by side, though, 8th place. Harbert's just ahead of this fight. Eli will go on through. Grant Brown going to lose the spot. Trevor Edwards now to the inside, and cars still side by side. Nearly 3 wide through 1 and 2 again. And they're starting to sort it out by lap 3.
Starting to get really single file here as Folds went purple and Ryan Kuhn quickly took it away from him. On board here with Kyle Meyer. Like we said, he was up there during the warm-up. He was quite peppy, I will say, down here in the 16th position now. Trying to find a way around, and, well, it looks like he might have contact.
Jeremy Ashby. And now 3 wide. Now. Souza going to give a tap to Boyd. That gives a tap up to Jeremy Ashby, who just lost it in turn 1. Made a little bit of contact and just hung on. That was fun.
Yeah, lots of crazy shenanigans going on throughout the field right now, Andrew, as these guys try to get themselves worked into the groove. You see Rocky Boyd getting a little loose back there. There's quite stalls throughout the field right now. Everybody's just trying to find a way they can get some track position. You would think that it is lap 75 and not lap 5.
Yeah, this might be the most time we've spent towards the back half of the field this early in a race. We're just watching these guys all try to get in line. Up front, nothing changing. Daniel Folds with the race lead. Parker Traves second. We can go up there, though, because Josh Cottle is starting to work on that 60 car. Remember, Parker Traves won at New Smyrna Speedway earlier this season. Race number 2 in our coverage, I believe race 3 of the season, Zach. And he did it without a front bumper because he caught the track crossing gate. There we go. Crossover gate. Thank you. And completely sheared the nose of that car off. I don't know how he did it, considering he was traveling perpendicular to it. It should have caught the door, ripped it off, but it ripped the bumper off instead. It takes talent at that point. I got nothing else.
You think he's talented for almost wrecking his car?
He's talented for getting away from it, only losing the bumper and still winning the race.
Well, the man he had to beat out for that win, Alex McCullum, he's lost 2 spots. Cole Cabry and Jacob Harberts have both gotten by him. And Ryan Kuhn is now sitting on the back bumper of Cottle and Traves. So, we talked about McCullum having a staple on the points lead. This is the night that could be a detriment to him. He has not been on the same pace as the rest of these drivers, but in the same regard, McCullum could also be taking it easy right now, saving their stuff for later on in the race and letting these guys burn it off. But he's got Edwards right behind him in the 32 looking to make a move soon, and Kyle Eli's not too far behind.
But you know what, Zach? If there's any one race that McCullum can give up, it's probably here today. Well, that said, if he does give this race up and finish somewhere around 10th or even lower, he's got to be on it for Slinger next week, and I would hate to have to go into Slinger and have to execute perfectly. So,
at the track that you really
yeah.
don't want to get into some motion. That's one of the smallest tracks on the schedule, maybe aside from Oxford Plains.
Oh no, it's smaller.
Cottle.
It's smaller.
Oh, well then. You really don't want to mess up there. As Cottle's gotten by Traves here. Ryan Kuhn right on the back bumper, taking a look to the inside. He's just going to poke his nose in there, not going to really make a move just yet. Cabry and Harbor's right behind them, closing in slowly. But, see on board here with Ryan Kuhn. I love this shot, Andrew. This is a beautiful camera that has been put together, and it shows off, you think it shows off so little, but it actually shows a lot. You can see just how hard that right front's going into the corner, just how much he's really pushing, and to see really where he's giving up some time here. As you can see through the center of the corner, Ryan Kuhn is a lot better than Parker Traves. But he gets it, loses it on exit.
This is truly one of the better looks on board these race cars, kind of pulled from the idea of some sports cars carrying onboard cameras like this. So watching Ryan Kuhn kind of move it around in the corner, following that posse machine of Parker Traves, you can see where their lines are just a little bit different and why one driver might have the edge here versus another there. Of course, you have to touch on, with Ryan Kuhn coming to a Northeast racetrack, you have to touch on the fact that he is from up this way. He carries that New England club tag. And I don't know if he's ever raced here at a modified or anything. I think he sticks to late models, but he's got plenty of experience at these racetracks. And of course, it's the Northeast. Just like Ryan Preece at New Hampshire, you think he might have an edge. You feel like he might have an edge here. I think really his edge will be at Oxford Plains in a couple of weeks, but look at that. Going for third place here on lap 12, making a big move, goes car 72, as his championship rival in the background lost a spot. Alex McCullum slides back to the 8th position behind Trevor Edwards.
Look at that. He's going defensive going into the corner. I think maybe he was looking to make a move on Trevor Edwards, so I'm not too sure.
I think that was just reactionary to Kyle Eli. I think Alex McCullum is wading through the swamp right now and starting to get stuck in the mud.
He just might. You know, I think McCullum would be marching a little bit further forward right now. And you can see here, he's just biding his time. He looked, I couldn't tell due to the rotation of our drone camera, but he looked a little loose, snapping through the corner, as Trevor Edwards now makes the move on Cole Cabry.
That was Jacob Harberts he just got by. The 80 car who missed Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, now sliding back a spot to 7th. Trevor Edwards starting to use that 32 car to move forward, and this is going to be an interesting race. I think if we were at a half-mile track, this is kind of equivalent to a 150 lapper, although you're not, I guess, putting quite as many. It's technically fewer laps on the tires, but miles traveled. I don't know how you would work that equation out, but it's kind of like running 150 laps at a half-mile racetrack, right? You're really wearing these tires out. High speeds, a lot of load down the straightaway, corner entry especially. Are we going to see some comers and goers? Are we going to see some long-run kind of, I don't know, evolution from the tires that we would see on a short track come a little bit sooner tonight? I would have to think so, as Cole Cabry takes a look here in Parker Traves. Already we're seeing Traves sink, we're seeing McCullum sink, even Harbert starting to sink through this top 10, while we're seeing guys like Cole Cabry and Trevor Edwards move forward.
Yeah, and per your point, Andrew,
Crash!
Speedway, big wreck coming off of turn number 2.
Two different crashes. Yeah, Jeremy Ashby in turn 2. This is Justin Laxton down the backstretch, and Rocky Boyd is moving backwards, in reverse, trying to get back around. He's kind of
going through the grass now. Is he going to spin it around? Yes, he will. Gets it off the racetrack. Gets it spun back around.
I'm not sure how beneficial that really was, but I commend the effort regardless. We'll take the road course section. Wouldn't that have been cool for the Mystery Night a couple of weeks ago? Go to the New Hampshire road course with these super late models, but Boyd will get back on track in the 25th spot. Dead last of 25. We'll take a look back as to what may have happened.
There's some right front damage on that car, too.
On lap 16. We'll take a look. This is from the tower on the front stretch. Kind of watch us all evolve. Grant Brown ahead. Justin Laxton inside. And this is just the Rocky Boyd, Justin Laxton moment.
Yeah, it looks like they just got together. Boyd tapped the wall, and it caught 53. And, well, they seem to get it rolling relatively quickly. No other cars
Spencer
involved.
Dickinson was very, very lucky in this. We'll watch it through again here. The 16 up top, there's crashing in the background. Rocky just got loose, got down into Laxton, hits the wall, tags 53. Watch
Whoop.
Spencer Dickinson. Even Kyle Souza snaking through there. Let's get Dickinson's on board.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a Code Brown moment.
Something like that. Here's Dickinson. Inside the helmet, driver's eye POV, right behind Keith Jeffrey in the 88 car. Can't see everything going on. Just gets by, and from there it looks like he wasn't even close, but it was a whole lot closer than that camera showed. Jeremy Ashby, meanwhile, in the 01 car, had a whole issue right behind those guys, and this is the lap prior. You see the 91 of Dylan Bates, actually, who started dead last. Got a bit free that time, and Ashby trying to fight back, got free on his inside. Let's take a look as to how this develops the next half lap.
Yeah, a lot of hard racing, and you can see that 01 car hanging on the quarter panel, and there's the contact. Dylan Bates gets sideways, and just cleans it back out right there. I don't think Dylan Bates was very happy with that move by the RKM 01.
This is Ashby down into turn 1. He's just going to send it back up the inside and drive right in the left rear quarter panel. And then Bates going to just tag him back around.
Ooh.
Real
Big
close
miss.
there for Eric Tracy.
Yeah. Big swing and a miss, as they call it in the baseball world.
Well, our field is doubled back up, re-racked, restacked, as they say. 56 laps to go, this time by, as we work into the restart zone. So
Ryan Kuhn in the most optimal spot, really, for this restart, and he has been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, Andrew. I think he's going to try to take advantage of this restart, get some clean air.
a really good spot for sure as we work onto the front stretch. Just under 20 laps on the tires, green flag back out of New Hampshire. Let's dive into turn 1. Watch the field come out of turn 2 real tight right here. The car likes to get real free, unsettle. Everybody gets through fine.
Love to see the speed shot cam as we see a fight for the lead now. Our first fight for the lead. Daniel Folds all the way up on the outside, trying to see if he can carry the run as Josh Cottle is working on that bottom line. He's not going to be able to get it, but at least he's putting up a good fight. As Parker Trades and Ryan Kuhn are side by side. Cabry and Edwards behind them. And McCullum is just sitting there saying, burn him up, baby, as Kuhn gets big steppy out of the corner.
You saw just how free Cottle got out of turn 4 and why he had to back out and get back behind the 09 car. We'll see that, I think, over the course of the evening just get worse and worse and worse. Right now, though, Cottle actually drove onto the flat there. Parker Traves getting real free out of the corner. He's on the outside. Cole Cabry, the beneficiary there. He'll move on into the 4th position. Not quite clear, but it's working on it as Trevor Edwards works on that 5th position as well. He'd like to grab that from the posse driver behind the wheel of car 60. A lot of battling in the background. I mean, there's racing everywhere, and yeah, Justin Laxton going to bring out the yellow as Grant Brown tags the outside wall in the 14 car. I believe unrelated, but that pristine 14 takes a little bit of damage.
Unfortunate for you, considering that was your favorite paint scheme while we were going through the scheme.
Oh, I never said it was my favorite. I just said you couldn't pick it.
Well, why?
Because it is my favorite. Justin Laxton, yeah, Justin Laxton back here going to get tipped by Rocky Boyd and go for a slide.
Was that? No, couldn't be.
I can't imagine that's connected, considering how that accident happened earlier. I'd have to say that the whole Rocky Boyd getting free part had to be on, well, Rocky Boyd. Here's Monburquette and Brown. You see Owlette and is that Bates making contact? Brown just tracked out. He just tracked out into the wall.
At least he kept it going. That car should have minimal damage. These super late models are quite sturdy, and well, looks like the 14 and the 16 are both going to take it down pit road and get a little bit of damage repair.
Oh.
Ooh. Well, that might. Well, actually,
in supers, it's difficult to tell.
It is, because we've seen a lot of these drivers have their wheels hung to the right just a little bit with the offset. You can see Justin Laxton, he's got a lot more damage considerably than these drivers in front of him, and Grant Brown stuck in the pit lane. You can see that front bumper fixing itself just a wee bit, and he's off and away. 14.5 seconds in the box.
Rocky Boyd going to follow here shortly. Justin Laxton waiting on service to be complete on that 53 car. And these guys all just getting damage repaired. There goes Rocky Boyd down the front stretch. Laxton's still in the pit lane. He's got a little bit of time here. The pace car working out of turn 4 here in just a moment. There's Daniel Fold. So back to Laxton. He's got a little bit of time, but yeah, he's got to get rolling.
Can't risk going a lap down. You can take the extra time for repair, but at the same time, you're then just going to have to get that lap back when the next caution comes out, even if a next caution comes out. Not to say that it won't, but not to say that it will.
Yeah, we're a third of the way through the race, and I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised we had 2 cautions back-to-back like that, especially after the opening run. But I'm not surprised that we're seeing a couple of early yellows. I think we might even see a few more throughout the course of the race. I do think this race will be closer to a NASCAR-style event than what we usually see when these guys hit up the short tracks. Certainly completely different from what we'll see next week on April 18th out in Wisconsin at Slinger Speedway. That is going to be a completely different race to anything else on the schedule, just like this one here. From the largest track to the smallest, that is one heck of a trip.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, per your point earlier, before the first caution came out, these drivers and this track, it's known for being, I want to say, a bit more of a load-bearing track, especially on that right front. You want to be able to manage both those right side tires, really. Don't risk the right front. Don't drive it off too hard. And don't drive off that right rear, because you're just going to be snapping loose the entire time. And, you know, being at the biggest track, really, on the schedule, it's difficult, really, because, like I said, with the load-bearing, you're going a lot faster down the straightaways and having to slow down a lot heavier going into the corner, but you can also let it roll. There's banking here as well, but it still is roughly a bit of a flat track. I think comparable to another NASCAR track, I think the only one that has about the same banking as New Hampshire is I think it's Martinsville, if I'm not mistaken.
Martinsville actually has a little more. It's maybe in the wheelhouse of like a Phoenix, possibly before the reconfiguration. It's worth mentioning, though, I thought this place would have a lot of load on the tires. Ryan Kuhn actually said most of the load is down the straightaways because of all the downforce forcing the car down. Let's see how these guys do, though, in the back two-thirds rather of this race. Green flag back out at New Hampshire. Oh, a shot there to the 13 car. Ryan Kuhn will lose third spot as he checks up to keep from spinning Josh Cottle. 3 wide, we'll go, maybe, no. Traves backs out.
Very smart. Don't want to get caught up in an incident that could be a detriment to your race, and this is going to be one of the most important nights as Alex McCollum is still struggling with trying to crack the top 5 tonight. Ryan Kuhn on the inside of Trevor Edwards, who has been marching forward so far tonight, still side by side. And I think Edwards will get Ryan Kuhn here on corner exit.
One has to think that this isn't just pace for Alex McCullum, right? It has to be something either wrong, maybe he just can't quite get to grips with the track, or maybe this is intentional and he's falling back. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around this with one car just yet because he's Alex McCullum. He's got to win. He's just good. And, I mean, his teammates as well are moving through the field. Cole Cabrey, Trevor Edwards, they continue to move forward. As now, Josh Cottle get a challenge for the race lead. You see McCullum moving around in the background, but this for position 1 as those 2 shop teammates look on. You've got the 54, you've got the 32 sitting right there behind this lead battle, and it's getting fun for the race lead.
Cole Cabrey being able to move past Ryan Kuhn as Cottle is now seeing if he can take that spot away from Daniel Folds. The first lead change of the night, Andrew. Josh Cottle almost clear of Daniel Folds, but going into 3, I think he should be able to get him right here as they still run side by side. Cole Cabrey looking on.
Cabrey just behind. He'd like to get that first win of the season. Wouldn't mind doing it here, I'm sure. Side by side still following those 2. 30 laps complete, 45 to go. Real interesting spot here. Do you push? Do you push these tires, abuse them a little bit, and get this track position, or do you try to hang on and just save it for laps coming up later on? You see the whole field at a turn 2, and these 3 up front challenging for the race lead.
Keep those tire temps down best you can. Otherwise, you can run these tires as much as you want to. Well, maybe a little less than that, but Folds continues to drop. Cottle finally clear, just barely, as Cabry now takes a look to the inside on Cottle, falls in line, still side by side with Daniel Folds. And they are not going to clear each other coming off of turn number 2. Very, very close.
McCullum now into 7th, so he's past Kyle Eli. No, he's actually past Jacob Harberts. Harbert's falling back to 9th. Johnson back into the top 10. And Harbert's now falling back to 10th. Folds going to lose the 2nd spot. Here comes Trevor Edwards on that 09 car. And the day is just starting to slip away from Daniel Folds. He had the track position from the metric, and he's done a fantastic job of hanging on. But these faster cars are working their way by. That's close for 3rd.
And Folds takes that opportunity, goes to the inside into 3. Can't quite get there on Cole Cabry, but he did say, almost contact, very loose coming out of the corner. Hangs onto it. Cabry's going to start walking away as Groot's taking a look on Edwards.
You see the gap from Folds into to Edwards into turn 1 there. Edwards closes it up, now falls back away just a little bit as they work onto the max stretch one more time. And that kind of calms things down for now. Everything really quieted down in a hurry. Of course, it's going to get right back to being a bit more exciting here in a moment. Ryan Kuhn, by the way, falling back from what was, the 3rd spot, now to 5th. That's a little worrisome just because track position is going to get more and more valuable as these laps click off. But that 72 still looks pretty solid. He's just got to find his way by Trevor Edwards maybe, and I think he'd be in a good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And
oh, one car on the wall! That was Kyle Meyer. Big block on Dickinson.
Close. That was very, very close. I think Kyle Meyer was trying to avoid the car in front of him that was in the wall. And now they're side by side, racing for position. Dickinson with the nose at the line. Not sure if he'll be able to get him in the corner. Actually, he will.
Meyer was the one that had tagged the fence. Dickinson tried to avoid and take advantage, and Meyer said, no, not so fast. And now the other 88 car, Keith Jeffrey, looking on at the 6, trying to work a way by. John Owlett waiting there in the wings, Matt Rolfe, Blake Thronberg, and some others just behind, as it looks like the 88 car is going to get the better of the 6 again.
Yeah, going right back out in front, just trying to manage mistakes is really, you know you're faster than the car in front of you. You just made a mistake, and you know you can get it back. So what you got to do is get spot back and sit back and ride. Don't burn up the tires too much. As you see, Spencer Dickinson is still trying to hang on that top line. Very, very tight through the corners.
Love being able to watch from these onboards and watch the backfires into the corner. We'll see it again here to turn 1. Watch the side of that 8 car. Yep, the flames shooting out the exhaust. That's just so cool. And also the fact that they're this close through the corner at such a fast racetrack. Never under 100 miles an hour, what I've seen so far. The yellow in the back, Eric Tracy, everybody spreading across the track. Yeah. Car 66 involved. Looks like Justin Laxton and maybe, Jeremy Ashby's got a ton of damage.
My goodness, that's a lot of left front damage. That's not something you really see on these cars too much.
And Laxton has lost a lap. Not exactly sure when he lost that lap, but he's involved in this from what I can tell. Certainly Ashby had to have been. Eric Tracy as well. Here's the contact in turn 1. Tracy down low on the flat. That's just racing from what I can tell.
Can't really say too much about it. Whoa. Going through the corner and taking the road course. It seems to be the favorite for these drivers tonight. Going through and taking that road course section.
Watch this back. That's Ashby on the outside in the 01 car. Eric Tracy down low in the 66. They've been battling for a few laps, it looks like. A bit free there was Ashby. Down in turn 1, watch how low the 66 goes. Down onto the flat immediately. Ashby takes that outside line, and I get the stance you're at if you're Ashby there, and it seems to work out for him because, I mean, there's contact and he gets away, but he's going to face the unfortunate side of, I think, causing that yellow. Or at least being a part of it. I don't know that he caused it. He kind of let Tracy run up into him, which is the point I was about to make. I get what he's doing, but you know that 66 is about to come back up. You know he's diamonding the corner. These guys are all good enough to know that. You can watch here Eric Tracy. He's trying to diamond the corner, enter low, kind of wash up and exit low. Yeah, those two were always going to make contact driving like that.
I can understand racing like that if you're racing up front, racing hard for position, but you're in the back. I mean, there's not too much that you really need to worry about. This is quite odd to see. Dustin Monberquette, he was up towards the front. Did he hit the pit road, or
he did?
Does he have a problem? Because he is really scrubbing tires in at the moment. I'm not sure why.
Well, marbles don't exactly accumulate on these tires, so this has to be a matter of either having fun or heat. I'm not sure if he's trying to build heat or lose heat.
I'm going to go with having fun.
Possibly. He is down to 23rd now after pitting. He took 8 seconds in the box. I don't see any damage to indicate maybe he was getting repairs. That might have been a matter of fuel. Possibly if he expected this race to go a little more caution-laden and maybe went lighter on the fuel load to start the race. I'm not sure. But car 16 has taken the trip down the pit lane. Also pitting under this yellow going to be Jeremy Ashby. Eric Tracy makes no stop. Dustin Laxton makes no stop, and Laxton actually is back on the lead lap. That is still an awful lot of damage, and the fact that he had lost a lap, kind of concerning.
Personally, I thought his toe was out. Well, it didn't necessarily look like he was being able to keep it straight, and
this offset, I can't tell if that's his offset or if his toe is knocked out that far. Let's go to somebody like Aaron Johnson, maybe. I guess Alex McCullum would be a good read as well. Let's watch his wheel down the backstretch here. I am just so amazed at the offset these guys run. I couldn't do it. The wheel is pointed nearly 45 degrees to the right. I couldn't do it. I like a little offset in my wheel, but nothing like that. That is bonkers to me. Now, we are a little ways past halfway. Halfway would have been the completion of 37 and a half laps. So call it 38 at that point. We're a little ways beyond that, so back half of the race now. And this Toxic Media Solution 75 is quickly approaching its precipice. A restart once again. Green flag is out. Geico restart zone. Let's do it again down to turn 1. Some big moves there in the top 10. McCullum going to fall back of Traves. Ryan Kuhn not able to go anywhere. Look at the whole field down the backstretch. And Daniel Folds is still up here and making these guys' lives just that much more difficult. I love it. He's just hanging on. That 09 doing everything he needs to do.
Yeah, and Alex McCullum starting to move back forward. He's right next to Parker Traves trying to make some moves happen. Ryan Kuhn in front of them. Kuhn is in the middle of a sandwich right now. It looks like the 5 square on a domino. He's in the middle. He's got 2 in front, 2 behind. And he's trying to see if he can find a way around while still hanging on. Looking back. Not too many fights going on throughout the field, but Folds, like you said, still hanging tough with Trevor Edwards on his outside. And I think Ryan Kuhn's starting to realize the outside is starting to move, and he's going to try to get up there. He's now on the quarter panel of Daniel Folds.
Folds doing a great job holding the bottom down. Edwards having to go the long way around. Try the outside and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying the outside line. It is going to benefit him, though, as this race goes on. That top side, I think, will be more and more advantageous. You see it starting to work that way for the 32 car. He gets by the 09 now, and there are battles going absolutely tooth and nail back here around the 20th position. It's crazy how much these guys are racing and in the wake of the connection issues for Rocky Boyd, but up front, you still have Folds and Kuhn side by side.
Yeah, Trevor Edwards is able to get by, and Alex McCullum is now starting to look on, see if he can find a way to get around them. He's actually starting to come to life. It might have been McCullum was figuring out he could save a lot more and hang on to it while still being quick. Ryan Kuhn is going to get around Daniel Folds, and now Alex McCullum is right there on his bumper.
Yeah, I wonder if McCullum looked at this and figured he was already starting towards the back end of this group and going to have to work track position over the course of the day, and it was going to be a challenge as it is. Maybe he wanted to fall back a spot or two, kind of sink back, save his stuff, and try to have more as this race goes on. A big adjustment there for car 1 down the backstretch, missing the 09. But I wonder if he was just trying to have that much more as he tries to trot through the field here. There's Parker Traves right out his back window. Very close, all three of these guys. And Traves maybe going to make a move.
Looking low to the inside of McCullum.
He's there.
He's going to give it to him. But is he going to be able to complete the pass? McCullum should have the run off corner exit. That run is going to go nowhere, but Parker Traves still taking a look, falls back in line in front of Kyle Eli and Jake Harvard.
And so now if you start to look back at the front of the field, Josh Cottle, of course, with the race lead, he's trying to pull away from Cole Cabry. The 54 car has kind of played second fiddle as, Matt Rolfe is slow and cautions out. The 0 has lost his right front. Absolutely destroyed. That has to be contact with the attenuator.
That is a lot of damage to that car. He is going to tow straight to the pit lane.
I would imagine that's contact with the pit attenuator. Let's watch. This is racing with Grant Brown in the 14, Dylan Bates just behind. And to this point, Ryan has had a pretty solid race. I mean, Thronberg ahead of this was 15th, so Matt was 16th then. Netcode contact with Brown, overcorrection. Wow.
Dustin Mumbercat gets involved as well. Oh my goodness.
I'm absolutely shocked that he didn't lose all of those parts from hitting the barrels at the end of the pit wall. That is a huge hit, and so large in fact that he blinks out at that perfect point in time. So I wonder if the netcode is off the 0 or the 14 at that point. There's space there. And wow, what a hit. And that actually netcodes the 7 and the 16 and the 50. They would not have been in that if not for the massive netcode around that accident in general. And again, I don't know where the netcode starts, if it's like transfer from the 14 in this case. This is a weird one to me. But watch these guys try to go by. 16's blinking. Then the 7, the 16, 53. Wow. What an unlucky break.
I feel like we have something to do with this, or at least myself. Two of the drivers that I said had solid runs and might do good today, Dustin Mumbercat, Matt Rolfe. Now they're sitting with wrecked race cars. Commentators curse at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, Kyle Souza. Heavy hits, and there's Justin Laxton involved in another wreck tonight. There goes a rolling tire. I wonder if it's going to complete a lap.
Mumbercat right back here in the 16 car. We're right on board with him. Let's go inside the car. 7 just... Oh my gosh.
Nowhere to go, but nothing in front.
Massive. And all of those cars are more or less out of the race. Josh Cottle leads us under yellow. The iRacing safety car lights have been extinguished, signifying the 1 to go. The teams. There's Matt Rolfe in the pit lane. He's done. Dustin Mumbercat, he's done. Kyle Souza at least is able to continue with that. This time, Zach, I think we can confidently say there is suspension damage. Let's see what the wheel looks like. Oh my.
That's not good.
Yeah, no, maybe an 87, that's how far you would have to turn the wheel. Wow.
You drive straight down the straightaway.
That is a fight and a half for Kyle Souza.
That's skewed. From what it looked like going from the front end, it looked very skewed.
And not the way a super late model is supposed to be skewed.
He's just trying to catch the field as they're around in turn 4. Getting ready to go back green.
iRacing.com safety car back to the safety of pit lane. Through the Geico restart zone. Green flag one more time in the back. 33% of this race now. Ryan Kuhn may be a good spot here on Trevor Edwards to look back for the podium. He gets the wall down the backstretch. Cars everywhere trying to find a good spot. A couple other cars hit the fence. Daniel Folds going to fall back, but Ryan Kuhn sinks back from that top 3 now. Can he get back up there, or is he sentenced to having to deal with Daniel Folds for even longer?
I wonder if he's got right front damage on that car after attacking the wall so hard. You can see, doesn't look too bad for that 72 car.
Cue the Jaws theme.
Hang on.
Cue the Jaws theme. Here comes New Jersey's Alex McCullum. 6th position, sure, but he's been saving his stuff. We know that much. There goes Traves at the inside. That's going to put McCullum back to 7th for the time being. Maybe don't cue that Jaws theme just yet.
Maybe not. And I have been taking a look. Ryan Kuhn does have significant right front damage on that front end of his race car, and it's going to be tough to manage, but I think Ryan Kuhn's going to be able to do it. McCullum still dropping.
This is in the helmet. It's hard to tell how much damage he's actually got. Look at the steering wheel. But we can take a shot at it at least. We can watch his hands, though, fight and fight and fight off the corner. That didn't look too bad, as we've got a big fight right behind him.
And McCullum trying to find his way back up forward. And look at Parker Traves all the way below the yellow for his left side tires, trying to find a way around McCullum. He's going to have a nose off the corner. They'll be side by side going to 3. Harbert's now looking to see if he can find a way around. This is not playing into the favor of Alex McCullum. He is stuck on the outside behind Daniel Folds. He knows he's faster. He knows he can get around, but he can't go anywhere with Parker Traves right next to him.
Is he faster, though? That's a big question at this point. I know Alex...
It's not a matter of if you're faster. It's the fact that you know you can be faster than them, and kind of drives that driver mentality of, well, I know I'm faster than this person. I can get around this person. Why am I not getting around this person in front of me yet?
Well, the more he sits back here and goes through these battles and burns these laps, the more I don't think he's even getting a top 5 out of this. Look at that. He had to get way out of the gas there for Parker Traves, and that lets Harberts get position on him here as Avendrov has some issues in the background. Harberts has got position, though, on your points leader through turns 1 and 2 on lap 58 of 75 in the Toxic Media Solutions 75. I mean, laps have clicked off. We are at go time. And McCullum is running 7th, about to be 8th maybe.
Well, it seems like he's falling back in line. Everyone's going to be able to just stay single file from what it looks like. The fight up front, however, Cambri's only a 10th of the way as we see a move here on Harberts, cutting to the lead. They are single filed, nose to tail, all of them separated by about 0.2 of a second of each other. 0.2 to Cabry, 0.4 to Edwards, 0.6 to Kuhn. It's going to be one heck of a nail biter. We are going to come up on about 16 laps to go at the line.
Cars slow in the back. Kyle Meyer, Dylan Bates, Grant Brown all over the place back here. But the leaders get away from it as there's a bit of shade maybe to help these guys out. If you've burned your tires up, some shade is going to help you here. 16 laps to go that time by. This is the view from Cole Cabry with the time delta bottom right, Zach.
Yeah, they're rolling up on, I believe that's Kyle Souza, the lap car going into turn 3. Cabry just trying to find a way to get to Cottle here. 15 laps to go at the line, Andrew. Do you take your picks now, or are you going to wait and see if there's a late race yellow?
That'll actually be Blake Thronberg that they pull up on. Kyle Souza has parked the car. Thronberg, for some reason, is 2 laps off the leaders. And caution's out. It's Keith Jeffrey and Alex McCullum in the 1. Parker Traves.
Detrimental. The nose is off the front of that one machine. That is not what Alex McCullum wanted to see as he pulls it down. I don't think he can turn that race car. The wheels are pointed to the right. Yes, he is going to toe to the pit lane.
He's done.
Talk about a championship shakeup. That is exactly what Ryan Kuhn needed tonight.
He's got a couple of drops to fall back on, but this will now pull. It'll pull one of his lower results now.
And I just heard from race control, Alex McCullum will be taking fault for the caution.
Wow. Trying to fight back through the field. Here's the 1 car. We'll watch it from the blimp. It's going to happen down in turns 1 and 2. Really 2 onto the backstretch from what we could tell. And your points leader getting caught up in a massive crash. He's had nothing but top 3s, I believe, to this point. Tags the 60 of Traves, who has a spin, and that just pulls the nose right off of the 1 car.
and knocks the toe out of that car as well. You can see he's pointing to the right just to go straight. Look at that right front.
Wow.
Alex McCollum decides, well, my race is over. Parks it right there on the backstretch, and he has most certainly taken this car and removed it from the race, going to the garage, out of the session completely, and you just got a feel for the man. He's been so fast, so quick, doing everything he can, almost has his championship locked up, and this might take it to Slinger next week. Oh no.
I'm going to look through stats here, but I really feel like this is McCollum's first detour from the podium. I think we've talked to him after every single race so far this season, but thanks to RaceSARA.com and the beautiful platform they provide us, I'm going to go and take a look at their league's results. McCollum, let's see, of course, he won at the Bull Ring. He finished... Oh, okay. I guess I don't have to go that far back. And, okay, this tells me a lot, because I completely wiped 5 flags from my recollection. He did not finish in the top 3 there. Where did he finish? He, of course, started on pole, because Alex McCollum. He's finished 20th. So there's one bad result. This is 2. He finished 3rd at Southern National, 2nd at the Fairgrounds. Let's see, race 3 at New Smyrna, he finished 2nd. Race 2 at Irwindale, he won. And race 1 at Kern County, he actually finished 4th. So this is his 2nd bad result, Zach. Now he's got to be perfect at Slinger, Oxford, and Lanier, or he might be in a bad spot.
Might be. This is more than likely going to affect McCollum's points wholeheartedly.
Well, his counting results are still fantastic, better than anybody else in the field. But if he has another bad race, that is what changes it. So this is his final mulligan. He's got to be perfect now, or who knows what could happen. Another little stat really quick, and we can go back to the McCollum situation. Matt Rolfe letting me know that if Josh Cottle wins this race, his first Super Series win came at another 1-mile racetrack, the Milwaukee Mile.
Ooh. Well, that is fun, but that also kind of tells you Josh Cottle is a force to be reckoned with on the big tracks, and he could absolutely steal this one away. We'll be going green with 10 to go, and you have all of these drivers up here: Cottle, Cabry, Edwards, Kuhn, Folds. These guys have been on it all night tonight. You gotta think what's going through their heads right now. The possibility of the fact of, well, I got a shot at this win, and I think I'm going to go for it on this restart, because you never know when the next caution is going to come out, if it does.
With 10 laps to go, a big nod to our partners: 1-8 Coffee Company, Pedley's Garage, Pierce Fleet Service, Race1Wraps.com, RS Center Trucking, SARA Next Gen Templates, SimWrapMarket.com, Susan Media, Studio 10 Wraps, Toxic Media Solutions, and everybody on this page as we enter the Geico restart zone at least one more time. 10 laps to go on the Toxic Media Solutions 75 at New Hampshire. The field
Big
reduced
run
down to about 20, side by side for 3rd.
Kuhn had such a big run on the outside of Trevor Edwards, managed to keep it off the wall this time around, and he is going to keep that 32 down there, make sure he cannot get a run off the corner. Try to carry it as Daniel Folds looks on. Trevor Edwards snaps, and Kuhn hits the wall again.
That backs him up more to this 78 car, and caution for Rocky Boyd. That is some of it happening, and you see Kyle Souza coming to the back end. That was Aaron Abendroth's on board as he made contact live with the 16 car. How about that for timing? Let's watch this from Abendroth's perspective. Rocky Boyd ahead. What happens?
Big
wow.
spin up in front.
And Souza just gets stopped in time.
Might need a little hold the brake there right there from Rocky, but at the same time, not too much control of the race car as we look on.
He was completely blanked out at the start, it looks like, or I'm on the wrong 16. Hang on. Well, I wouldn't doubt it, though, for Rocky to be completely blinked out. There we go. The right 16. The Boyd's Automotive, number 16. Contact here with Owlette out of turn 4, maybe? No, he just gets loose and grabs the wall.
Oh. Jacked up.
Poor Keith Jeffrey.
Kyle. Oh my goodness. Souza with the contact there from Rocky Boyd again, and you got to feel for Rocky. It's been a rough race for him tonight. He's been involved in a number of incidents. There's the contact. He's up the racetrack, tracks it out a little bit. The way the wall grabs these cars, it can be quite irritating sometimes because you don't expect it to grab you that way, and then it just happens.
I don't know if this one was all that unrealistic, though. If we watch it back, a little bit of contact maybe, it starts to slide, he's still sliding, trying to hang on to it, grabs the wall. That is a concrete wall. Maybe it's a concrete wall that he's hitting with the right rear, which is rubber. I mean, there would be some friction there that maybe grabs it back, but usually, if anything, it's the lack of a soft body physic for the car, right? You don't have soft body physics in iRacing quite like BeamNG Drive or real life. So the car kind of bounces off the wall, and I think there would be that friction, but in reality, it would have kind of pancaked the right side, and he would have been able to at least keep it from ricocheting into traffic and becoming something worse. But that, unfortunately, comes right on the coattails of a fantastic run that he had back at Las Vegas at the Bull Ring a couple of weeks ago. He ran Road to Pro, then got in that race, and absolutely a great run. Really sucks to see for somebody who's been putting his nose to the grindstone and trying to get better here at this iRacing thing. Was having an alright day in the midfield, certainly has had better days, and then it really went badly there.
Yeah, just unfortunate circumstances for Rocky Boyd. And now, Andrew, we set ourselves up for quite the restart because we're still under caution here. And if I am doing my math right, we shall get the 1 to go next time by. If we're already on 2 to green, we'll go green lap 72, 4 laps to go in this race. And I think if you're Ryan Kuhn, you did not want to see that caution come out. He was trying desperately to do everything he could on that outside line. You've got to maximize the restarts. You've got to take advantage of everything that you can get on these restarts and be able to put this car in a position where it's going to be able to roll and not get jacked up, as we see someone is still on the racetrack with no nose. I think that's Alex McCullum. No, that's Matt Rolfe.
A Zero car has exited the pit lane, and he's brought a modified now.
Oh, that's a little bit more than a modified. That's
It's incredible to me how much you can see through the car right now. No bumper on either end. He's also got no spoiler. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it works out for him.
No downforce whatsoever.
I highly doubt this works out for him, but he's going to try and take a few laps. And the reason he's doing this is if we end up going to overtime, we do have 2 green-white checkers at our disposal. He could grab a few more points, passing guys like Kyle Souza, Parker Traves, and perhaps even Alex McCullum if this race goes to enough extra laps in overtime.
He's 21 laps down.
But they are 10 and 11 laps down. So if this race extends just enough, he could absolutely run those 10 laps. So it's worth it for him. If this race goes to overtime, which, hey, it's New Hampshire, we're restarting with 4 to go, it absolutely could. He's got a chance to grab some points. But here we go. Into the Geico restart zone one more time. Green flag is out for Cole Cabry and Josh Cottle. Cabry backs up into 1, trying to get in line behind the 13. Ryan Kuhn, an opportunity here to try and use that outside lane to his advantage. Let's see what he can do down the backstretch.
Still side by side, Trevor Edwards, Ryan Kuhn, Daniel Folds, and Johnson in the 78 looking on to see if they can find a way to go forward as Kuhn is struggling on that top line. You can see Edwards pulling out the nose side by side at the line. Give it to Edwards as Cottle continues to try to hang on. 3 laps to go. I don't see much happening with Ryan Kuhn if he can't get that car rolling with it the way he needs to.
This race far from over. Aaron Johnson waiting in the wings. Can something happen here? He's got that RKM decal on the side. He'd like to move up with that 72 car. Kuhn gonna have a run this time at a 4. Maybe. Can he hang on? No. There's just no grip up there. No grip at all up there for the 72. Grabs the wall. He's going to fall back to 4th, maybe 5th.
Cottle goes purple.
Yeah, that 13 car is only getting quicker. They're going to fight for 3rd, but let's watch this now for the race win. Cole Cabry just back of the 13 car. One more lap to settle it after turn 4 this time.
Yeah, he sets that car down into 3 and 4, tries to get a good entry, and he rolls the corner very well. Cottle hanging on, white flag in the air, presented by Whiplash Media.
One more mile to go here at the Magic Mile. What magic can Cole Cabrey conjure up down here in turns 3 and 4? He is just off the back end of Josh Cottle. I don't know what's going to happen down here. Two drivers looking for their first win of the season. Deep into turn 3. Can Cabrey get there? He's going to send it. He's looking for something. But again, on a mile racetrack, it's the Mile Magician perhaps. Josh Cottle going to win at the Magic Mile.
Look at how happy he is, celebrating this win. He's going to bring it back down and burn those tires to the ground. What a showing from Josh Cottle. Did you come up with that nickname there on the fly, Andrew?
I did. I'm proud of it.
I would be too. It's pretty good. As Cabrey pulls up, gives Cottle a good old celebration tap, and Trevor Edwards rounds out your top 3. Ryan Kuhn bringing it home 4th. What a win for Cottle, and definitely going to help his point standings tonight.
And despite Alex McCullum's misfortune with the race overall, the shop is strong once again. They go 2nd and 3rd as Josh Cottle will burn it down this evening. Maybe, possibly. He'll think about it. He might.
He's looking at it.
He's getting a picture here with these guys in the front stretch, and here we go.
Walking it.
By the way, that's a shop 1, 2, 3. I couldn't recall exactly if Cottle was on that team, but he is. So despite Alex McCullum's issues, what a day for those guys. 1, 2, 3. You don't see that very often. Oh, it did happen Sunday.
Little wall tap, you know. This ain't Talladega 2011. You don't need to listen to your crew chief about tapping the rear end, but hey, you can always give it a little knock on the door.
We'll take a look back at our unofficial race results after 75 laps. The Toxic Media Solution 75, a banger. I mean, that was a fantastic race. And, you know, it didn't go too long. For being a longer racetrack with these guys, that was very much bite-sized, I feel like, in the best of ways. That was a really, really good race these guys put on. I think everybody did their jobs behind the wheel. That was fun to watch. Let's take a look, though, at the unofficial race results. Cottle with the race win. Took over pretty early, never looked back after passing that 09 car, who, by the way, still finishes 6th. But the results in between, you have Cottle's teammates, Cole Cabrey, Trevor Edwards, so the shop walking down the podium, Ryan Kuhn 4th, Aaron Johnson 5th, then Jacob Harbert's in that 7th spot behind Daniel Folds. Couldn't quite get by that 09 car. Kyle Eli in the 21, hangs on to a top 10, and Jeremy Ashby, Spencer Dickinson. For a couple of guys who had some really big early issues, they get back through the field and finish in the top 10. I think that's really, really notable for those two guys.
Actually really surprised that they were able to nab a top 10, because we had quite a few runs where the race ran green and they were able, I guess, take advantage of that, surprisingly. But John Owlett, Keith Jeffrey, Grant Brown, Justin Laxton, who also got involved in quite a few incidents, he pulls out a top 15 finish. Eric Tracy, Dylan Bates, Kyle Meyer, Aaron Abendroth, pretty sure I butchered that name, and then Blake Throenberg actually did manage to get one of his laps back, finished 1 lap down, and then Rocky Boyd 9 laps down after that last incident. You just gotta feel for Rocky. He's had quite a terrible night. And then your last 5 finishers, Parker Traves, Alex McCullum, getting involved in an incident with each other, and Kyle Souza. Matt Rolfe was only able to get in front of Dustin Momberquette, who finishes 25th, 26 laps down.
I can report, by the way, that Alex McCullum will hold on to the points lead. And this was my whole point. He had a pretty solid result to fall back on. You know what that result was? 4th place. So while, yes, tonight is a wash, and it's his last mulligan, he falls back on a 4th place finish, and he's still got a 33-point lead. It's unofficial for now, but Matt Rolfe handed me the points sheet as soon as he could there. I appreciate that. Your top 3 in the standings now become Alex McCullum, Josh Cottle, and then Ryan Kuhn. Cottle now into the 2nd spot with this win. Cabrey ends up 4th after this race. Trevor Edwards gets a little closer. He's 6th after this race. I mean, that's a big shakeup, though, for 2nd place for Cottle now to move up into that spot. And guess what? We get to talk to him. Race winner this evening at the Magic Mile, perhaps the Mile Magician. I came up with that one on the fly. Josh, you don't have to feel bad for me and go with it. But a race win this evening, 48 laps led. That's a big night for you. What was it like behind the wheel?
Oh, man. First of all, I just was like, that's a first top 3 finish. First time I get to talk to you, Andrew.
Yeah,
But
it's
honestly,
been a long season.
Absolutely, man. But to come out like that and just have an absolute rocket ship. I mean, that thing, I could put it anywhere I needed to, and it was a really great setup and really great help from all the boys at the shop.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of car 13, not always for the best of reasons. Tonight, though, absolutely the best. And, a little birdie in my ear, Matt Rolfe told me that you got your first win in this series at another mile racetrack, the Milwaukee Mile. I don't know that there are too many similarities other than it's a flat mile racetrack, but something clearly clicks for you on these mile racetracks in a super late model.
I don't know why, man. I love finding the extra groove that nobody will be willing to go to. You know what I mean? Like, when I was beside Folds, I'd run almost to the freaking apron and just make it work. I just love doing that. I love the dynamic, like, you know what I mean? How do I explain it? Just the dynamic racing where you can do different grooves. I love that stuff.
And, I mentioned we've seen a lot of you this season. If we look over at the unofficial standings after tonight, you are now second. Yes, 33 points back of your teammate Alex McCullum, but second. And with him now off of a terrible result, getting crashed out and having to fall back on another drop week. One mistake for your teammate, and you might be in the championship picture that much closer. I know you don't want that to happen for Alex, but I'm sure selfishly you wouldn't mind it. You're in the championship picture. How's that feel?
I mean, it feels great, but also, I mean, I don't want to jinx anything. I just want to be able to run good every week, and honestly, tonight just helped me a little bit, like, being able to run like that versus running like P10 every week, it helps a lot. So, but Alex is an incredible driver. So is Ryan and all the other guys up front. Like, you got to work hard to get there. So just taking what I can get, I'm happy with it.
Well, you carried the flag this evening, rising to the occasion, and we've seen plenty of past champions across several different series just get going at the right time. Think of Tony Stewart 2011, winning all those races at the end of the season. Maybe this is your time. I'm not going to jinx anything. I will. Knock on wood. But Josh, fantastic win. Good to talk to you. Hopefully we can see you do this a little more.
Appreciate it, Andrew. I'm glad to talk to you again, man. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but Josh Cottle back to victory lane in the SARA Super Series. A big night for car 13, and Zach, his teammates right behind, teammates plural. We're going to give you Cole Cabry with a big-time race for himself in second.
Yeah, absolutely. Cole Cabry putting on quite the show for us tonight, trying to see if he could find a way around Cottle towards the end of that race. But Cole, you definitely put on a great show for us. You got a shop 1, 2, 3 finish. Tell us how your race went, man.
Yeah, man, it was sick. These big tracks in the Super are, something that a lot of people dread, and I'm not the biggest fan of them, but it was nice to have a change and be able to kind of like relax and just race since it was, so spread out. But, got some good picks off early, and these guys at the shop brought a hell of a car. So, super sick to get a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely put in a good run tonight, and your teammates put up a good fight with you. And one thing that we were talking about during the broadcast is where the load seems to be the most when it comes to these cars on this track. I said that it would have been the corners, and then Andrew said that Ryan Kuhn actually told him that the load seems to be more in the straightaway. Where do you feel like really your car was best? Do you think the straightaways were worse than the corners? Or do you think the corners were maybe a little bit better?
I think our strong point in our shop cars, all of us, we had a lot of drive off. That was one of our big strong points compared to, I feel like Ryan and RKM guys and the posse and other people. We just were able to get a lot of kind of like, I just kind of let, Traves just do his thing on entry and center, and I knew I could get him, up off. So, and that kind of gets you down the straightaway also. So I think drive is kind of what you're looking for around a big track.
Well, you definitely had quite the strategy tonight to be able to get that car and hang on to those tires towards the end of this race, and hopefully this helps your point standings, considering some of the drivers that were up at the point standings. Alex McCullum He only lost a few points having a good drop race, but you definitely were able to close in due to that race. So congratulations to you, and congratulations on second place finish tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And real quick, I want to give a huge shout out to the shop and Josh and Alex and everybody for building a sick queue setup and a badass race setup. So super sick and ready for Slinger next week.
Sounds good to hear. Well, thanks for talking to us, and congratulations again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And I believe Trevor Edwards is waiting on you, Andrew.
Yeah, position 3, our Nashville Fairgrounds race winner, Trevor Edwards. A pretty big night to then reflect on here in Shop Talk. A new paint scheme for you as well, Trevor. How'd the night go?
A lot better than expected. I usually hate these places because I'm just not good at them. But just hit on something, and it just was really good short run. We were pretty good long run. Kuhn was a little bit better, but I think our short runs were just so much better that we could get that gap. And then we got lucky a couple cautions. There was a couple times he got to the door, inside or outside. I just don't think he had the drive off to make the pass, to be honest with you.
It seems like it's been the shop season. You now have positions 1 and 2 in the standings. Ryan's still there in 3rd. Is there like a team effort at this point to try and just keep executing at this level? I mean, I don't know that you guys are necessarily going against Ryan, more so trying to lift yourselves up maybe, but there's got to be some kind of team effort, right? I mean, you've got Alex first, Josh now second. You and Cole are not far back at all. What's that like between the 4 of you guys?
It's fun. It makes you better because you know when you're in practice, you're running against some of the best in the series. So when you're practicing, you're just elevating yourself, every lap and trying to make it just a little bit better here, a little bit better there. It's just a lot of motivation with, having some really good guys on this team. And we like beating Ryan. We really like beating Ryan here because this is his playground. He loves this place. So to come out here and run 1, 2, 3, that means a lot to us. This is probably one of the more special races.
And Slinger next week is a complete difference from here. A quarter of the length and 4 times the incidence. How do you prepare for a place like that?
I hope we can put stiffer bumper bars on it and stiffer sheet metal because this is going to be a war. It's going to be a little bit different format, I think, from what Matt was talking about, which I'm not exactly thrilled about. I think we should just run how we run. We're supposed to be the best of the best. We should figure it out, but I don't know. I think next week's going to be a whole lot about short run speed and staying on the bottom. It's going to be all about, just playing that game, really. Other than that, it's just going to be kind of luck because if someone gets turned around sideways there, everybody's in it. So we'll see how it goes, and just you can't worry about what's going to happen. You just kind of take it lap by lap, through the whole season, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, you try again later on.
Well, Trevor, best of luck. It's going to be a challenge out there, to say the least, next week. We'll be watching for that white 32 car.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I want to thank everybody at the shop for all the hard work this week. It was definitely a different week for sure. And come join us on Shop Talk. It'll be on the shop Facebook page right after this, probably about 5 minutes.
Go, Trevor Edwards, position number 3 this evening. A nice little shameless plug. We love that. And it does get a little less PG over there on the shop's Facebook page, but it's been pretty fun to watch what they do and play part of the community. I definitely can't knock what they're doing. In fact, I support it a little bit. It's interesting. It's like I said, it's a lot less PG, I should say. But it's fun to kind of listen in to what these guys think about the league they race in and put so much effort into. So if you haven't yet, I'd recommend trying it out at least once, checking in and seeing what you think of it. But Zach, what a night. I mean, what a night this evening. Fantastic race. This was a really solid schedule decision. I'm sure, these guys have been running this series for, 10 years at this point. They've got experience. They know where they can and can't go, especially Matt Rolfe. He's the mastermind behind it all, but fantastic race.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely put on a great show for us tonight, and we didn't see too many lead changes. We didn't see too much going on when it came to the fight for the lead, because once Cottle got out in front, it was smooth sailing from there, but lots of great fighting throughout the field, lots of green flag passes, and it was a great race. Great race. And I'm so happy to be able to do stuff like this with you, Andrew. It's so great to see these leagues that really just put a lot of effort into their racing product, put a lot of effort into the series that they're running, and it takes a lot to do these things sometimes, especially since a lot of these guys that run this league have real life racing commitments. So to see this level of dedication is great out of this group.
Yeah, I think we're very privileged, very lucky here at Pit Stop TV to be contracted by these amazing leagues that we have. The Sim Auto Racing Association here on Thursday evenings, the North American Racing League also on Thursday evenings in the summer and a few Saturdays in there. And then the Icon Cup Series. Those are our 3 current series and a few other single events put on, one of them by Cameron Carden. He's a fantastic guy. These guys, they put in work. They absolutely put in work and effort into their series, and I think we're very, very lucky. I know there's a lot of leagues on this sim, not calling anybody out because every league requires a different kind of league owner and dedication, but there's a lot of leagues that kind of fly by their seat, the seat of their pants. That's not the case here with any of these series. They very much put the work in, and it definitely shows, and I very much appreciate the fact that we're able to call these races and talk about these drivers on a weekly basis. Let's talk about the rest of the season, though, Zach. Slinger next week, 150 laps, and it kind of kicks off this string of short tracks after this mile racetrack. We got a quarter mile at Slinger, around a third mile the next 2 weeks at Oxford Plains and Lanier, and those are 2 very, very challenging racetracks. From the driver's seat, I'd be dreading it. From the broadcast booth, I'm looking forward to it.
Slinger is now opportunity number 1 for Alex McCollum, because if he has another bad race, it's over. Like, it will be over. I won't say it's over, but I will say that it's going to make his championship a lot harder, because to explain this a little bit to the viewers, the way a drop race works is that it takes your worst finish and it completely disregards it from the points total, which is all well and good for Alex McCollum, but now he has to use this race as a drop week. Now, if he finishes worse next week, he can use that race as his drop week as well, but that's 2 terrible finishes that are accumulated to his points total. One of them will affect, the other one will not. So, if you're Alex McCollum, I would be practicing making sure you get the pole for that race, you lead all those laps, and you finish that race in first, because if you're anywhere second or lower, you're going to be stuck in traffic, and you're going to be stuck with trying to fight through the field. That's going to make it difficult trying to be able to avoid getting lapped and avoid getting caught up in a wreck, because I think you can back me up on this, Andrew. Slinger is like Dover in a way. It is a self-cleaning racetrack. If you have someone spin on the top, they're coming straight to the bottom. Or if you get hooked on the bottom, you're going to the top and then coming back down to the bottom. So there are many ways that Alex McCollum's race could be very much affected going into Slinger, and even Oxford Plains. Such a small track. It could happen.
And really, I think the opportunity then is for everybody else to control their destinies if they can. If Alex has a problem, gotta pounce on it. I mean, it's, even if he does have a bad race, it's a 30-point swing they have to make without having an issue themselves. And I'd have to go through results to pile them and see exactly where Josh sits as far as drop weeks. But it's going to be interesting, to say the least, these last 3 races, to see who's got drops, who doesn't, and who can get out of Slinger, Oxford, and Lanier alive. But let's take a look at what we have upcoming here at the channel. A good look. I love the racetracks we have coming up. I mean, we've been talking all about Slinger, but for the Icon Cup Series, we're going to Texas, Talladega, then Dover and Kansas, all the way going into May. I mean, we've got some fantastic races coming up for those next-gen cars on Sunday evenings. The Icon Cup Series has been one of the most thrilling Cup Series we've ever had. Zach, I don't think we've ever had a 28 caution race at Martinsville be as compelling as it was last week. That sounds like such a terrible number, 28 cautions or whatever it was. That sounds awful. Trust me, that's a must-watch broadcast. It was compelling down to the last corner. Really, a good race.
Absolutely, it was. It was a privilege to cover that race. There were a lot of great storylines throughout the field, a lot of different points shakeups moving forward, and really a surprise winner too. So if you're looking for a good race, you should definitely tune into the Icon Cup Series Sunday, April 14th, only on Pit Stop TV. And so many other great places to watch Pit Stop TV: Facebook.com/Pit Stop TV, Instagram.com/Pit Stop TV. Well, excuse me. Instagram.com/pit_stop_TV, Twitter.com, or also X.com/Pit Stop TV_, Twitch.tv, back on Twitch, finally back on Twitch after a few issues on Twitch's side that kept us from being there. Twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, YouTube.com, the main place, the best place to watch Pit Stop TV, YouTube.com/Pit Stop TV1, and then Kick.com, the newest place. Not new now, but newest out of everything else, place to watch Pit Stop TV, Kick.com/Pit Stop TV1. Andrew, it's been one heck of a night. So many great races to look forward to here on Pit Stop TV moving forward, and I think the fans, the viewers, are going to be in for one heck of a show as these races tick on.
A lot of great races coming up. Wouldn't be possible without our partners, 1-8 Coffee Company, Pedley's Garage, Pierce Fleet Service, Race1Wraps.com, RS Center Trucking, SARA Next Gen Templates, SimWrapMarket.com, Sousa Media, Studio 10 Wraps, and Toxic Media Solutions, and Boyd's Automotive, Crow Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, DriverTees.com, Fast AF Designs, Hides Pride, Leather and Sheepskin, International Short Track Association, Jeff By Jr. Art, Justin Brooks Designs, and Matthews Designs. A big shout out as well to Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, and CC's Business. It's been a pleasure, as always. You'll next hear my voice on pitrow.tv this Saturday out at Anderson Motor Speedway. So if you want to tune in, if you're able to tune in on that pay-per-view service for the Southeast Super Trucks season opener, should be a lot of fun. I'll be alongside Gerald Harris. Then we're back Sunday at Texas Motor Speedway. Zach, I know you've got some racing coming up out at Wake County Speedway.
Not anymore.
Well, regardless, racing season fully in swing. You've got to check out everything we've got to offer. We'll see you guys next time here in the Super Series at Slinger on Pit Stop TV at Texas. And that's not the right graphic. Here's the right graphic, and not as well to those who make it happen behind the scenes. In audio, ATVO, Whiplash Simcams, OBS, and iRacing.com. And we're out of here. We'll see you next time.